Hello everyone, Gashbad here. We are back with Zombicide Black Plague. When last we spoke, we had finished up the last 4-survivor medium quest. So if I wanted to go on with this, I would either have to paint more survivors or go on to the hard missions. I do want to get to all the 6 hero missions in the main book. Now I could just paint up the last 2 core box survivors and just drop them into the team and go on from there. But wouldn't it be better and easier for painting if I just painted one new survivor and then introduced them into the group by playing one of the one-player missions available on Sigmar's website? Yeah, they've got one-player scenarios on their website. I mean, yes, technically all of these quests that I'm doing are one-player because I'm using all of the survivors, but there are a number of downloadable quests specifically designed to focus on one hero. And one of these is Anne's Revenge. This features Anne, a psychopathic dagger nun. As always, I'm not using the actual model from Zombicide Black Plague. I'm using a GW model, in this case a sister of Sigmar from the Mordheim range. She's an angry woman of the cloth. Specifically, she's angry because a priest from the town that she grew up in, well, it turns out that guy's actually a necromancer. And not just any necromancer, but a super powerful necromancer that can only be killed by the orcish crossbow. And wouldn't you know, my group just retrieved one of those. So Samson the dwarf just delivered the orcish crossbow to the town. Anne is on her way to pick it up, but I guess the bad guys got wind of what we were up to, and so now they're out to get us. So the board is set up like this, and our goal is to kill the necromancer who is starting in the upper right. Again, he can only be killed by the orcish crossbow. Anne is starting in the middle. Samson, for now, is actually the blue objective. As soon as we take the blue objective, Samson joins the party. We've got 2 other objective markers. The green objective is mixed in with the red objective face down. There's one in the north and one on the right. Each objective will give the character who takes it 5 XP, and when we take the green one, we've confirmed that the orcish crossbow can indeed kill the necromancer, and so the orcish crossbow will go down in the vault. There are no other vault weapons in the vault, just the orcish crossbow. The vault door is in the building in the south. It is protected by the blue door. The blue door can only be opened by Samson. Samson's also the only person that can take the orcish crossbow from the vault. I guess he put a bike lock on it or something when he handed it off to the villagers. The red doors can be opened automatically, there's no need to roll. Anne starts with a hammer and the Mana Blast spell. When we pick up Samson, he's going to have a short bow and a short sword. He's also going to be at the lowest experience level of the current danger level. So if Anne is in the yellow experience level, then Samson will start at the beginning of that. Finally, we've got 4 spawn zones. The red ones in the upper right and the lower left are active from the beginning of the game. The necromancer spawn zones in the bottom right and the top left, those will become active when the necromancer reaches them. The necromancer is not going to follow the normal movement rules. He's going to move clockwise around the board, visiting each of the spawn zones in turn. So first he's going to take the shortest path to the spawn zone in the lower right, and then once he gets there, he's going to go to the spawn zone in the lower left, and so on and so forth. He doesn't leave the board when he goes to a spawn zone, and no other necromancers will spawn. And I think that's about it. The difficulty of the quest is marked as hard, but it doesn't seem too bad. We've got to pick up the blue and green objective. That'll get us Samson. Samson will open the door on the south. We go into the vault. Samson will pick up the orcish crossbow in the vault. He's got to hand it to Anne, and then Anne has to kill the necromancer. All right, we're ready to begin, and there's only one hero here, so we're going to start with Anne. I see no reason to waste any time. I'm immediately going to open the door to the left with Anne's first action. Per the quest rules, I do it automatically. Yeah, if I went around to the other buildings, I could gain some experience, and then when I picked up Samson, he would be at a higher experience level. But I think it's more important to have another character to walk around and just cover some of my dice rolls that I might flub. So Anne opens up that door, and so now we have to spawn for that 4-room building. As always, I'm going to spawn these rooms furthest to closest. The first one gives us a necromancer card, which is not great. So there's a little lack of clarity in the main rules as to what you're supposed to do when you draw a necromancer card, and there's already a necromancer on the board. What I have been doing is just treating it like any other monster, and he just gets another activation immediately. But letter of the rules, it kind of looks like you're supposed to just keep a hold of these cards, and for as many cards are set aside, that's how many extra activations the necromancer gets on every one of his activations. Because this quest features a necromancer so heavily, I kind of wanted to run this as close to the written rules as possible. I don't want anyone to say that I just won the scenario because I interpreted the rule differently. So that card gets set aside, and from now on, when the necromancer activates, he's going to get 2 actions. Moving on, the next room down the line gives us a runner. Okay, not too bad. The room after that gives us another runner. That's a little surprising. I kind of thought runners were a little infrequent at the blue experience level. Still, it could be worse. The last room, the one right in front of Anne, gives us a single fatty. Okay, now there's a problem. I've got 2 rooms with a single runner directly behind a room with a fatty. The fatty takes a 2 damage weapon. I do have the hammer, but I can't just blast him away with the Mana Blast spell. Anne does have the Bloodlust melee ability. So I could, for a single action, move into the room, say with the fatty, I could move up to 2 zones, and then make an attack. The problem is that I only hit on a 4+, so say Anne runs in there and she misses. That means that even if she kills the fatty with her second action, the runner's going to move into my zone, strike me, and Anne's going to be down a wound, and she only has 3. And if I get really unlucky and miss twice in a row, then both the fatty and the runner are going to strike me, and there's going to be another runner coming at me that'll get to me in the round after that. So even though I do want to go and pick up Samson, I think I'm really pushing my luck going into that room on the left, especially with the way I roll dice. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to ignore that building for the time being, and I'm going to go 1 zone over to the right for my second action. My thinking is I'm going to go into that building on the right. I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to pick up the objective there, see if I can get the green objective. And hopefully by the time that I've cleared out all that, the runners will have separated themselves from the fatty so that I can blast them with a Mana Blast spell or something like that. It's a little risky me opening the building on the right. If that last room spawns another runner, then it's going to jump in and strike me, and that's the thing I was trying to avoid. But I mean, how many more runners can we actually spawn? So again, spawning those 4 rooms starting from the furthest. The first one gives us a walker activation. Great. Nothing happens. The next room gives us a single walker. That's okay. Third room gives us nothing in sight. Pretty good. And then the last one gives us a single walker. There, that's much better. That I can deal with. So zombie turn on the left. The fatty and the 2 runners move towards me. The walker in the zone right in front of me moves into Anne's zone, and the other walker shuffles up as well. And of course the necromancer takes its 2 actions, trying to get to that spawn zone in the lower right. So now we go into the spawn phase, and there's only 2 spawn zones. I'm going to start with the one in the top right. For that one, we get another necromancer. That is no good, so now I guess he's going to have 3 actions every time he activates. Still, no new zombies show up, so we go to the lower left, and we get a double spawn. Fabulous. So we're back up to the top right. We draw a fatty activation. All right, not a problem. We're still in the blue experience level, so it doesn't happen. And we get another walker activation. Okay, that was fine. Back to the hero turn, and I've got these runners breathing down my neck, and so what I got to do is kill off the walker in my zone, and then I'm going to go and use Bloodlust to get into that further walker in the building on the right, and hopefully I can kill him off as well. If I don't, at least I'm far away from the guys chasing after me. So I pull out the priestly hammer, get ready to bonk this zombie on the head. I roll my d6, and I miss. Need a 4+. Okay, no problem. Second action, go and roll that d6 again, and I miss again. Oh no, now this is bad. This means I can't move out of this zone. I don't have the actions to do it. Even if I kill this zombie, I'm still going to be stuck here. Because that necromancer has 3 actions, it's going to end up in my zone at the end of his turn. The runner directly behind me is actually going to get to attack me, and the other runner and the fatty are going to end up in my zone. I think I just lost. I spend my last action to kill off that zombie. That gets me 1 XP, and it helps a little, I guess. But I think I'm doomed. I did think this was a possibility, but I thought it was really unlikely. I did consider that I could just use the Bloodlust melee skill to move out of that zone, spend another action to do it, go into the zone with the zombie all the way over on the right. But at the time, I wasn't sure if I could use Bloodlust melee and spend another action to get out of a zone with a zombie. I just looked it up now, and I think it does work that way. I think I would have been okay doing that. But I didn't want to look it up. I thought, my dice will come through. As long as I can kill the zombie with one of my first 2 actions, I'll be fine. I was not. Zombie phase comes around, the runner moves into my zone and hands me a wound, the necromancer moves into my zone, the fatty moves into my zone, the runner and the walker both close in on either side. I actually make a mistake here. That runner on the left should actually be in my zone as well. In the spawn phase, a single walker shows up in the top right and a fatty shows up in the lower left. But I think I'm finished. Even if I kill off the walker and the runner with my first 2 attacks, that still leaves the necromancer who, if you will remember, cannot be killed by anything but the orcish crossbow. So if I'm still in his zone at the end of the round, he's going to get 3 actions to punch me in the face, and that'll kill me. And I can't leave the zone, of course, because with only 1 action left, it's not enough to leave a zone with 1 enemy. Oh, Anne, I am sorry. I painted your miniature. I was super keen to have the original 6 survivors show up in these games. And now I think I went and killed you. Well, nothing to do but to fight and see what we can make out of it. So, Anne goes and she's going to attack. She's got the hammer, the first die roll comes up a 4+, and she kills the fatty. Then she goes to attack the runner and misses. Well, that's it, I'm done. Third action also misses the runner, and that's it. On to the zombie phase. The runner hits me for 2 wounds, which is enough to kill me right there, and the necromancer's still got its 3 actions it can lend. And of course, just for good measure, the other runner can move into my zone and attack at the end as well, and the other walker just shows up to watch. Well, oh no, that didn't go well at all. Considering how the dice went, I was right to not rush into the room on the left. If I rolled the same numbers, I would have missed twice against the fatty, he would have stabbed me for 1 wound, the runner would have stabbed me for 1 wound, and then I would have had that whole mess to deal with just 1 wound remaining. Yeah, I wouldn't have won. What I could have done is just moved over to the right, burned my last action, and then on my next round opened up the door and then bloodlusted in to try and kill the walker that would have spawned. Of course, we know from the dice roll that if I had done that, I would have missed twice, so the walker would have punched another wound on me, and then I would be in much the same position as before. The smartest thing would have been to have done the thing that I was talking about earlier. When the zombie from the right moved into my zone, use Bloodlust to scoot past him and attack the zombie 2 zones away. Again, I would have missed him twice, but at least I wouldn't have had a bunch of other zombies there to attack me in the next round. The other thing that I really should not have done is I should not have chosen that way to play the Necromancer. I said it before, but that way is just ridiculous. It's dumb, it's an extra thing of bookkeeping. I don't think the designer of the scenario anticipated the Necromancer to just be doing his Barry Allen impression around the board by the end of it. I mean, by the end of round 1, he was up to 3 activations a round. Who knows what he would have been up to by the end of the game. So, live and learn. Unless you're Anne, I guess. Anne is dead. I can't use her in my party anymore, which is a shame, because of course I painted that model, and I was keen to have her in the group because I did think that her rules were pretty good. Samson, we're going to say he just saw the writing on the wall and took off out the back. He'll rejoin the party. Not fair to say he's dead when he didn't get to show up at all. There is another one of these single hero adventures, Silas's Gathering. I've already got Silas, but it does involve Clovis, so I'm going to run through that, and I'm going to try and introduce Clovis into the group, and then, I don't know, I'll have to dig into the expansions or Kickstarter extras to add the 6th member of the group when I finally get back to the core box quests. So that's it for the game, a real short one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from my mistakes. I was feeling a little overconfident, maybe. I'd been doing real well in Zombicide Black Plague. I guess I was due for some bad luck. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, observations, or concerns. I'll see you on the next one.